Hello. I've had a bunch of friends asking me how gaming works on Linux. And I'm using Bazzite, which is one of the Linux distributions dedicated to gaming. So I've been telling them a bit about it and swapping and everything. And I figured I'd make this video because I know they're going to ask me again. And I can just link them a video. It'd be a lot easier. And hopefully someone else might get some use of it as well. Initially, when you install Bazzite, you have a bunch of programs pre-installed. These are Steam, which is very easy. Everyone should be familiar with that, I'm assuming. Lutris, which is a video game library manager, and something called Proton Plus, which is a Proton manager. Proton is the Steam compatibility layer used to run games in Linux. So if I install a game and it either doesn't work or doesn't have Linux support, or if it does have Linux support, but I want to play the Windows version, then you use Proton. And it's very simple. You just right click, go to Properties, go to the Compatibility tab, and tick the box. After that, the drop down of the available Protons will be available. You click on one, and Steam will download it for you, and then you press play. And that's it. It's very easy. It's very streamlined. You don't have to do any faffing most of the time. There's a little bit of faffing occasionally, but for most things, it's so streamlined and simple now that you don't have to do anything advanced to get things working. Proton Plus is a Proton manager essentially. You can download a bunch of different Proton versions. The baselines are from Steam, and then certain other people take those and do certain improvements to them or certain tweaks that they think are better and things like that. And they're available to download through Proton Plus, and you can use them into Steam and into Lutris as well, which is very handy. There's quite a lot of them. And you can also select which Steam game you want to run which Proton. There's also links to the Proton DB page as well, which is a very useful website. So we'll open it up for Zomboid. Or Forever Winter. Let's open up for Forever Winter. We just launched that. Which will take us to Forever Winter. And we see a rating here for the game. Runs perfectly after tweaks. And then there's user reviews and reports of what they're using to run the game, what commands they're running as well, which is very useful. We'll also show you their system stats and things like that, and what operating system they're using. It's very useful. I use it a lot. The next program, which is also pre-installed, is Lutris. This is a video game library manager essentially. So this will automatically populate your Steam games. You can also allow it to, in the sources tab here, pick games from any account or service provider that you have. So there's Battle.net, Amazon, Ubisoft, EA, Epic, Humble Bundle, GOG, and some other ones as well. It has a bunch of emulators, not quite pre-installed, but available. So you can just click on the little box here and install any of these that you require. The main ones that I'm using are Wine and Dolphin. Wine runs the Windows games. It allows you to install things as well. If we click on the preferences of Wine, We can run by default into a bunch of different things, so we can run into Proton 10 or any of the other Protons that we've downloaded as well. For just now, I'm going to leave it on the default. Dolphin, I had some issues with. The Dolphin that is downloaded through Lutris, at least for me, it would not open. And so I downloaded Dolphin via Flatpak, and then I directed Lutris to where my Flatpak is. And after that, it runs fine. At the side, there'll be the runners option, so if you need to twiddle or tweak anything, you can just run the emulator on its own. And this comes up with the ROMs that I already have installed from the settings in Dolphin. It picks those up, but we can also add them into Lutris as well. So to import a ROM, you just direct it to where it is. So I have a SNES Castlevania Dracula ROM. We'll open it, install. It's going to do a checksum, and it populates it. And we can launch it from there or just launch it from here. And it launches it. You will need the BIOS files, which you can direct Lutris to, again in preferences, in storage, and you can select where you want it to find them. That method does not work for GameCube games to add them. So for that, you would go to add locally installed game. I've lost Kingdoms. Runner, we need to change to what we want to run the game. So it's Dolphin. Game options is where the ISO file is. So we just navigate to there. And then that's it. We'll press save. Lost Kingdoms pops up there. If we open it, Dolphin will run and it will automatically run the game. It's very easy. Where things get a little bit more complicated is installing games from an executable. Now this is for if you want to install, let's say, a certain repack or offline GOG files, or maybe like the rip of like a CD or something, and you have the installer. This is how you would do it. So initially it wants the name. This isn't very important. It's just what it's called within the menu, and it will also take the identifier from what you call it. So I have Xenonauts 2 files. If I wanted it to be something else, if I wanted it to pull a different image from the website, which is what the identifier does, it just finds an appropriate picture from the website to tie to the game. I could change it. You can pick custom ones as well. It's not set in stone. It's just for making things look nice, really. We'll press install. And then we're met with this window, which is wine setup file. If you're not familiar with what wine is or what's going on here, it's basically making a fake little Windows folder for you. So in my Cultist Simulator folder here, we have drive C, which is the little Windows fake file. So it has program files, program data, the Windows stuff that it's expecting to be there, like certain DLLs and things like that. And it basically functions like a little mini Windows. So we're going to install that, and it's going to set up install for Xenonauts 2 in its own little folder. You can put them into one big folder if you want to, but I personally keep them separate just in case. It's easier to delete them, really. It's easier to fiddle and faff and install certain things that might work, or, you know, tweak and twiddle without interfering with anything else. You can add a bunch of shortcuts if you want to, or just continue, and then it wants to know where the file is, the setup.exe. Once you find it, press install. It's going to set up the wine folder, which is now here. and then it will start the GOG launcher as you are usually expecting it. The background window here is the install log. If there's an error or something goes wrong, it will be displayed in here, and you can use that to find a solution or see what's going on. But you should have zero problems installing something like a GOG offline file. The default directory will be C drive. We obviously don't have a C drive on Linux, but it's not important because it's the C drive within the Xenonauts folder that we've just made. So it's in here. So when we press install, it should make a little GOG folder there, and Xenonauts 2 is inside it. And that's it. This will complete, and then we can just launch the game. Something that is a little bit annoying is that if you click off here, you can't get the install window back without clicking a bunch of times. So I'm just going to move this over to my second monitor just so I can keep an eye on it. And we'll continue when it completes. Once the game is installed in this method, you can click on it and do a bunch of options from here. And then in the wine button next to it, there's an option to run exe inside wine prefix. This is how you would install any additional DLC or run a mod manager or maybe reshade or something like that. And it will run it within the little Windows environment that we created, and then it will apply and affect the game. You'll notice when I click on a game that I've installed through Steam, I don't have that option. If I did want to do that, I would have to install something called Proton Tricks, which when we launch it, it gives us the option to select, say, Bannerlord. We'll press OK. This will give us the same options that we have through Lutris for our games that we've installed offline, and will give us the ability to use those same options in the games that we've installed through Steam. Xenonauts has completed. We'll press exit. This window will now complete. We'll close it, and Xenonauts is there, and we can run it. What I am going to do is go to Configure, set the option to Proton 10, save it, and then launch the game. If you want to install a repack, they are a little bit finicky. So if I wanted to install it via this usual method, we'll just call it repack and install. We'll choose our file. It's going to set up a folder just like with the GOG game version. And here we are just in the normal repack installer. What's going to happen here now is that it won't work. And we'll just press next. It's going to default to Z, just change it to C drive. And then we don't need any of this stuff, because when we're running the game through Proton, this provides all these things for us anyway. We don't need them. We'll install it. It's going to get to 1.2% and then it will fail. With this error, isdone.dll. which will just break. It will then spit out this, give us a few more errors, and then be done. Now, to get around this is actually very easy. Online searching, you can run it through Steam and run it through Proton, and it will work, but it's a bit more faffy than just doing it through Lutris. So what we're going to do is go to Preferences, go to Runners. At the very bottom is going to be an entry for Wine. We'll open that, and then change the default version to Proton 10. Press Save, close that, and then do it again. One thing that is recommended, I think, is to limit the installer to 3 gigabytes. I've had occasions where the installer is using all of my RAM and the system has just gone, I don't think so, and closed Lutris for using too much of my RAM, which is very nice, but for these kind of repack unpackings, they can do that occasionally. So I think it's safer to just, or more expedient to limit it, and then it won't close and lose your progress. I'm going to press next. It's going to ask us where to install again. If you install it to Z, I don't think it has actual space. It says you can't install it here or something, which I'm just not going to faff with. So we'll just change it to C, and it will go into the C drive that we've made with the wine prefix. I'm going to press next. We don't need any of this crap. It will hang at 1.5% on the first FG pack for FitGirl, but it will complete to the end once it gets past this initial point. So once the first FG pack is unpacked or processed, then you shouldn't have any other issues, and you shouldn't get any error pop-ups either. So once that has gone past the sticking point, there'll be no issues with it, and it will complete, and we can run the game afterwards if we want to. I think that's about it.